So today I'm trying to do one more smartphone video. It's always one more because my decisions in smartphones are questionable and my video views on smartphones are also questionable. I don't really know if you are enjoying those smartphone videos, but I keep changing my smartphone and I keep getting to ones I like and I keep getting one to recommend you to get them, but this one didn't turn sour yet, so I'm trying my best to recommend it to you if you think you like it. This video is not sponsored, not recommended, not nothing. It is my personal smartphone and my experience with it. The name of this one is Motorola Edge 40 Pro. I had the Motorola Edge 30 Ultra and I replaced it with this one. First off, the package. In the package, you will find the smartphone and the case. This is a plastic case. This is it. The Edge 30 Ultra had a screen protector, but this one has a better glass on the screen, supposedly. And this is what they don't apply a screen protector from the factory anymore. I don't know if that is good or not, but it didn't scratch yet. So I'm hopeful that it won't scratch in the future. That's about it, as far as my experience and honest impressions go about how the display will be scratch-free in the future. It has 3 buttons on the side, power and volume buttons. It has one Type-C port at the bottom and it has just one SIM slot. So it has a dual SIM standby, but one SIM slot. One of the SIMs can be physicals and the other one needs to be eSIM or electronic SIM. At the top we have a speaker and at the bottom we have a speaker. They are pretty much equal in size and equal in design, so they will sound about as loud. But the only difference is that the one at the bottom is at the top as you were holding it and the other one is at the bottom. So basically you are likely to cover one of the speakers, which is not that fun of an experience. The speakers are better than all of the other smartphone speakers that I've heard to date, although they still aren't audiophile speakers, but they are better. They are better in volume, bass reproduction and overall quality than Xiaomi speakers that were on the Black Shark smartphones and the ones on the Edge 30 Ultra and the ones on the Huawei P30 Pro. The smartphone has a similar battery to the Edge 30 Ultra, but it lasts much longer because it has a better CPU that is much more economic, which I liked. I enjoy having a longer battery life. It has pretty much the same display. It is a very good display. And in fact, this one has an even better display than the 30 Ultra. So the 30 Ultra could go lower in the maximum refresh rate, while this one has a maximum refresh rate of 165 Hz. The other one was 144 Hz. Now, I most probably won't notice this, but I have it locked at 160 Hz always, and it is a very smooth experience. The main reasons I replaced the original were that the 30 Ultra, had a worse battery life and it was significantly worse. It didn't last me for an entire day of usage, while this one lasts me for about 3 days of usage. Imagine this, I have this, I'm using it as my typical smartphone and it's 3 days of usage. No smartphone lasted this much ever in my hands. On the other hand, it is quite slippery. It is thinner than all of my previous smartphones, which is nice. I like having a thinner smartphone. The selfie camera is quite bad. Like, it is not a very good camera. I will take a photo right now and hopefully we'll show it in the video. So the selfie clarity is actually kind of to me. It's just low quality. It's not nice. On the other hand, the main camera quality is better than the one that was on the Edge 30 Ultra. It is sharper, cleaner and more detailed without being artificially sharp, so I like that. It has a very good exposure, a very good dynamic range, and it is generally a very pleasing image to look at. On the other hand, this one has the biggest upgrade over the original 30 Ultra, and that is the video processing. The 30 Ultra has a very poor video quality, like it's really poor. This one, the newer version, the 40 Pro, has superb video quality, and I think it is not the camera that changed. I think that it is the processor quality, and I think that it now allows better processing, and both in full HD and in 4K the video quality is just much better. It's like a whole new world of quality of difference. It's much better. The newer version doesn't really have any other changes, so it has pretty similar RAM, pretty similar internal memory. There is no microSD slot, so if you are a music listener who wants to take his collection with him, that won't be possible. But it has 256 gigabytes of internal memory, out of which about 210 are usable typically, but it's okay. I have about 100 gigabytes of music, which I take to the gym, because that is the only place where I would use a smartphone for music listening. I mean, I'm audiophile, I have one. I won't listen to music off of a smartphone anywhere else. But for a gym smartphone, it is quite good. It supports LDAC, aptX HD, LHDC, all of the Bluetooth codecs, which is nice. It has very strong antennas. Most smartphones have very strong antennas, and it is good. I mean, I have NFC, Google Pay, I can touch card readers and I can make contactless payments. It is great because it never lags, it never stutters, it always just works as I would have wanted it to. Like, I wanted that from the Edge 30 Ultra, but after using the Edge 30 Ultra for about 2 months, I have noticed that it kind of lags. Like, I start it up, I go into the menu, and then I try to open Chrome and it starts lagging. I have to wait a few seconds before it opens, then I have to wait a few seconds before it closes, and that was driving me insane. I don't like those micro stutters and those lag times. This one doesn't have any of those issues, which once again I think is just the CPU that is different. The company doesn't really offer any kind of support for their smartphones, so if you purchase a Motorola, you won't get any kind of support. The company doesn't answer mails, they will not help with service, they are one of the worst companies when it comes to support, and they don't even offer software upgrades. So the Edge 30 Ultra will most probably and most likely be forgotten, and you should purchase this smartphone only if you are okay with that. The maximum screen brightness is extremely bright, fully visible in daylight. The minimum screen brightness is very dim, and it can be extended to be even dimmer from the menu, so it won't burn your eyes if you are using it at night. I've used it as the GPS with my car while driving around. It is very precise and much better than the Edge 30 Ultra, and much better than the Xiaomi Black Shark. So the Black Shark had some kind of bug where it would sometimes just stop working entirely. So that was something that I've noticed after making the video review, and I noticed especially in the GPS mode, it would sometimes just lose signal, which was terrible because I needed it to drive around. This one doesn't have this issue. It never loses GPS precision, it is just good. Most of the apps just open instantly. You don't really have to use gesture-based navigation, but I like it, so I like having gestures and such. It is very nice. Games play well on it, but honestly, I don't really play games on a smartphone, and that may be controversial, but I just don't like the experience. I mean, just look at what kind of monitor I have in the back. It's just disappointing to play games on a smartphone at this point, at least for me. I prefer playing games on my big display in the back in my computer. Smartphones for me are usability. For example, I really needed to be precise in the GPS because I have to visit new places and I need it to show me exactly where I am and exactly how to get where I need to be. I needed to be able to make payments with it. I need my smartphone to check my bank accounts. I need my smartphone to allow me to check my accounts, to check my progress on stuff, to open Google Docs, to sign documents and such. And I think that for those things, it is perfect. The faster processor allows me to do those things faster. It never crashes. And that is pretty much what I wanted from a smartphone. The camera quality is so good right now that I can almost use the smartphone for some reviews. For example, if my camera runs out of battery, I could really and easily use my smartphone for some of my B-rolls, some of my B-shots, and I would still be okay with that. It is so sad that the selfie camera has such a poor quality because otherwise I think that there would be nothing to complain about when it comes to this smartphone. In fact, I will try to, I don't know if I will be able to, but I want to try to film myself with the main camera from my other point of view so that you can see how the quality looks like. This is the video quality of the Motorola Edge 40 Pro. Like, you can probably see the difference between it and my main camera. It is quite different, but it still is an excellent quality for a smartphone. I don't know how much experience you have with smartphones and video quality from a smartphone. My setup isn't really made for me to use the smartphone for filming, but I think that the difference in quality is so big that I could easily use the smartphone for my video content if I was in a pitch. For example, if I needed to film something really quick, I could use the smartphone and still use that addressed to you as my friends. Like, as my friends, I would tell you this. If you can afford this smartphone because it is quite pricey, I think that there is nothing else that is much better than it. And although I don't think that it is a perfect smartphone at this moment, I think that it is perfect for my needs and for most people who aren't that enthusiastic. For example, I think that I could be able to do professional video footage with this as well. For example, if my camera ran out of the battery, I think that I could be using the camera on the Edge 40 Pro to do the videos and even photos for reviews, even professionally. I think that it is good enough for that. And as some of my photographer friends used to point out, it is not the quality of the camera that makes the final content. It is how much you know how to use that camera. I think that the camera on a smartphone is harder to use than a larger DSLR or mirrorless camera, but I think that it is good enough for most content. It isn't quite perfect, but it is good. Like, it is really, really good. It doesn't really compare to the video quality on the Edge 30 Ultra, which wasn't able to keep up with my content. I tried to film some B-rolls with it, as once I forgot to take the SD card for my camera and I couldn't do the B-rolls, but the quality was quite disappointing. Comparing that to the Edge 40 Pro, very good quality, very good battery life as well. It can record in 4K, even 8K. It can record at 4K 60 Hz or 60 frames per second, which is something really rare because even my current camera can't. My camera records at 4K 30 frames per second and I have to upscale that for the video to be uploaded on YouTube. Even until now, I didn't even know that it could record 4K, so I recorded in full HD and then remastered the content and processed it for 4K. But it can record 98K, the Canon AOC 90D. But with a smartphone, you can even record 8K. It is all about the processor. I keep saying this, but it is all about the processor. The processor made it more efficient, it made it better, it made it record better videos and even take better photos. It is all in the CPU of the smartphone. This is why you want your smartphone to come with a newer, stronger CPU. Of course, at the end of the day, everyone will have their own needs. Like, you may not need a smartphone with such a good camera, you may not need a smartphone that can do only this, but it works well with USB docks for your audiophile needs and it does pretty much everything that I need it to do. I think that my video review of the Motorola Edge 40 Pro wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention the fact that I actually returned it about 2 weeks after I finished filming the video review. And the main reason I did that is, although you can compare my excitement then to my position right now, we tried using the Motorola Edge 40 Pro to take B-rolls and video shots at high-end Munich. And what did we find out? We found out that it is absolutely atrocious at taking both photos and B-rolls in actual real-world conditions. So while typically sitting in this studio and taking good photos is possible, even when the camera is not perfect, in real world, we wanted to do like a little vlog at Munich. So we participated in high-end Munich, which is a large convention for music lovers and audiophiles and tech products related to audio. And we used that smartphone for the vlog part because we can't really take our camera plus stabilizer plus microphones everywhere. And the phone had such an atrocious quality that it is nauseating to watch some of the footage. There is color trailing behind objects, there is no resolution to be spoken of, and in low light conditions, the video is not watchable. The problem there is that the shutter speed is way too low for the ISO and for the data rate and the frames per second that we are recording in, and a smartphone like Motorola Edge 40 Pro, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra, no Motorola smartphone anymore for me. So I wanted to tell you this before I end this video. I don't want you to purchase that and then be disappointed. I think that it is a great smartphone if you don't want to rely on the camera. Now, if you do want to rely on the camera, I am nowadays using a Samsung S23 Ultra, which is also not ideal. It can be terrible, but it is much better compared to the Motorola Edge 40 Pro, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra, and all of the Motorolas. Because while it has a low shutter speed too, and I think that in the end we will just get a vlog camera to take our videos, it is much more controlled than it was on the Motorola. And you know, I can actually film me right now with this, but not with the Motorola because I already returned it. So just to give you a quick heads up of how the frontal camera video looks like, I am right now trying to film myself from a very similar angle that I do on the camera with the Samsung S23 Ultra. I see that the skin tone is quite bad. The frontal camera has a bit of delay, but the quality is much better than it was on the Motorola Edge 40 Pro and Edge 30 Ultra. Now, I don't really like the frontal camera video of the Samsung smartphone. At some point, I should probably try to get one of those iPhones and see what the hype is all about. But with the Samsung, it's just barely okay. That being said, a few other of the things that I found unbearable with the Motorola phones was the lack of image stabilization, so the photos was extremely shaky and we couldn't really use most of the photos, we had to stabilize it in post, and because of that the end quality was quite horrible. But look at this. Samsung, it can actually take decent video on the back camera. I mean, it's not perfect, the audio quality is just decent. There are smartphones with a much better audio quality, and let's be honest, it is decent. It is not perfect. I won't tell you that get this smartphone, it will replace a camera. No smartphone will ever replace a camera, but some smartphones can actually be not even similar to a camera, but decent for a vlog, for casual content. And in the end, I do think that the end result will be for us to get a proper vlogging camera for our blogs. We just want to share some of our trips with you and to do some more fun content. So you can still grab the Motorola Edge 40 Pro or 30 Ultra or any other Motorola smartphone. Try to get something that seems fun to you, and just keep in mind, a smartphone camera will never be a proper camera like a DSLR camera or a mirrorless, but it can still be pretty great if you need to shoot some content and don't have anything else to work it. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll consider checking out my other videos. I hope you'll consider subscribing to Audiophile Heaven. I hope we'll see each other really soon. Bye bye.